And today I want to talk about kindness. Yesterday it was World Kindness Day, and there's a lot that was placed on social media about what does it take to be kind. And there's lots of suggestions that it's about random acts of kindness. I think it's so much more than that. But first of all, why? Why do we need to be kind? Why is that important? And I always go back to the same thing. It's good for us. It's good for our own energy. It's good for our own peace. It's good for our own well-being. So here at HypnoFit, we're always taking care of the client. What is good for the client is our priority. It's not about anybody else in their life. It's whoever's in the room with us. And so what's the best thing for our client? And so that's the way that I see things is what is it that gives me peace? What is it that makes me happy? And it seems like it's a selfish way to look at it, but when I make myself happy and I'm responsible for my happiness, then that flows on to everybody else around me. So, that's my number one aim, is to make me happy. And so what are the different elements of making oneself happy? There's many different elements, but today we're going to talk about kindness. And so kindness, think about this. When you're kind to somebody, how good does that feel in your body? What's the feeling that you get in your body when you are kind to somebody? As opposed to if you're nasty to somebody, how does that feel? It doesn't feel good. I noticed that there was a big hoo-ha on the media and Instagram last week when a particular celebrity basically named and shamed his ex-girlfriend by putting up a video of her, kissing another guy. And, my comment to that was, is this really necessary? If she did something that was not kind, it doesn't make it better to respond by not being kind back. Okay, it doesn't feel good. So, what feels good is to be kind. And so what is kindness? What is kindness? Hey, Nikki, how are you, gorgeous? What is kindness? What are the three elements of kindness? So I just quickly thought of this morning as to what kindness meant for me. And this is what it means for me. So number one is patience. So this morning, as an example, I was sitting at the lights, and one thing that irritates me is when cars come, so I was supposed to turn right into a busy street, and that car was supposed to turn left, and the car took the entire space, so I couldn't actually, go into the right lane. And I started to feel agitated, because that's one of the things that bothers me, is people that take up two lanes when they're turning. And then I had to stop and say, just relax. It's okay. It's all right. Just have patience. Just be kind to that person. He probably doesn't even realize you're behind him. And what's the rush anyway? There's no rush. And so what if you're here for another 1 minute or 2 minutes? It's okay. Just chill, girl. And so that's what I did. I went, put on the music, put it louder, and I was just bopping away. Before you knew it, I was on my way. So when I say patience, I don't necessarily mean just to be patient with, in front of other people. It might just be in your own space to be patient. So, and when you are patient with someone else, you're being kind to them. So even though that person didn't know that I was initially irritated, and then didn't know that I just basically consciously made the effort to relax, I was then being kind to them, and that felt better for me. And so I would like to ask you this question is, patience. Who are you impatient with? Are you impatient with your children, impatient with your spouse, impatient with your colleagues because they do things differently to you? I know that this is something that, I constantly have to manage myself. And so with all these three elements that I'm going to talk to you about today, it doesn't mean that I've mastered them. Absolutely not. But the first step to mastering is acknowledging and understanding and realizing what you're actually doing, and so bringing that into your conscious awareness. So I'm not saying that I've mastered the three elements of kindness. I'm saying that I am aware now of what it means to be kind, and so I catch myself being unkind, and then I switch it. And so think about, who you are impatient with. And like I said, this is a big one for me because I like to do things fast, and I like to make sure that I use my time efficiently. And so when people are giving me fluff, or when people are dragging their feet, and it even might be my son, or, I might say to him, can you please do this? And then, it takes him 5-6 hours to do it. So then I become impatient. And so it's about really understanding that this is a feeling that I have in my body and I need to manage it. And so the first thing is just be patient. Not everyone is like you. Not everyone has your timetable. Not everyone does things your way. And so just be kind, be patient. So that's key number 1 to kindness, is to be patient. Key number 2 is something that I've grown up with all my life, and that's because this is what my parents basically taught us, and that is forgiveness. And so no matter what anybody does, and no matter how hurt you are, that you need to forgive, because not forgiving, again, that's just a toxic energy that you're carrying in your body. And so you're not holding them accountable by not forgiving. You're actually forever enslaving yourself to them by not forgiving them. So when somebody says something that's thoughtless, when somebody does something that's hurtful, forgive and let it go, so that your energy, your aura, your vibe stays at the level that it needs to. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the third element. So first of all, we had the first element to kindness was patience. The second element was forgiveness. Now the third element is really hard. It really is difficult, and it's a work in progress every day for me. And that is not to be judgmental. So even though I think that I'm not a judgmental person, if I see someone do something that I wouldn't do, I can't help but judge them. And so I need to stop and say, that's them, that's the way they do things, that's not me. So it's a constant monitoring. So even people who are unkind, as an example. So this example that I gave you earlier of someone on social media not being kind to his ex-girlfriend, I wasn't kind by judging him. Does that make sense? So by judging his actions of not being kind, then I am myself being judgy. So, we do this all the time. We put our judgments on other people all the time. And so that's not kind, to judge people by our morals, our values, our belief system. As long as people are not harming anybody, that they have their own journey, and they have their own demons, and they have their own, you don't know what's going on for that person before you judge them. So when you see somebody do a particular act that you wouldn't do, you don't know what's going on for them. You're not in there, you're not basically living their life at that point in time. I know that for myself. 2018 was a very, very stressful year for me, because I had a lot going on personally. And so was I, and certainly 2017, I would say, was probably even worse. So, was I my best self during those years? No, but you don't know what's going on for that person. So be kind, be generous, be forgiving, be patient, and make this your daily way of living rather than just random acts of kindness. Because when you make this your daily way of living, it's habit forming. And the more you do something, the more forgiving you are, the easier it is to forgive. The more patient you are, the easier it is to be patient. The less judgy you are, the easier it is to be less judgy. It's just habit forming. So get into the habit of being kind, not just random acts of kindness that make you feel, oh, I've done something good and that's my random act of kindness for the day. No, not just one random act of kindness. The way you think, the way you perceive the world, and the way you behave to the people around you. So be kind. I hope that's been useful to you. And if you feel like you've got a lot of stuck energy, when you have stuck negative energy, it's hard to be kind, it's hard to give that positive energy back, then come and have a talk to somebody here at HypnoFit. Complimentary. So Deborah is my client success manager. She can be contacted on 1300 797 622 and let her know what's going on for you, and we can just talk to see if what we do here at HypnoFit aligns with where you're at, how stuck you feel, and what you need to do moving forward. So I hope that's been helpful. Helen from HypnoFit. See you later. Be kind.